Okay, to start, we're gonna need 3 different colors of beads here. So I'm gonna use this purple as my inside of the flower, this white as the outside of my flower, and then this kind of bluish teal color as my connecting strands between the flowers. So we're also gonna need this beading needle and our elastic string with some tape holding it down. So to get the string in there, you're gonna kind of take your beading needle here and pull it apart gently. If you pull too hard, it will break, so please be careful with them. But then we're just gonna kind of open it like this. You see this nice big like eyelet here, and then we're gonna take our string and just put it through that eyelet there. And then if you take this here and you kind of grab both sides of our elastic string here and just give it a nice little tug, it should be nice and secure in the end of your needle. So what we're gonna do then for the actual bracelet, if you'd like to start with that kind of connecting strand in there, take 3 of your connecting color as your base, but I'm gonna start with a flower here just to kind of get that going. But we are going to first take 4 of our outside color. So I kind of just like to tilt the beads like this, and then I'll slide it on and hold it with my other hand on the needle like that. So we'll take 4 of those, and then we're just gonna take 1 of our center color as well. So you should have 5 beads on there, and you're gonna take that and slide it all the way to the end of your string. Then what we're gonna go in and do, we're gonna make this first kind of loop here. So we're gonna see, this is kind of like our front of the bracelet, and we'll call this the back of our bracelet. So we're gonna go from front to back in this very first bead here. So this very first of the outside color, we're gonna come from the front and we're gonna go into the back. So in through this way in the bead, and then we're gonna kind of slide it in here. And as you're doing it too, the more times you loop this string through the beads, the more stiff it will get and hard to move those beads across. So if you kind of hold it in place as you're tightening, that can be nice, just so that you don't get your string bunched up and such. So if we pull this nice and tight, you'll see we kind of have the start, give it a little extra pull just to make sure it's tight. We kind of have the start of our flower here. So what we are going to do now is grab 2 more of our outside color here on a needle and just slide those all the way down again to here. And then as we're looking at it here, we have, if we were to pull the beads this way, it makes a circle. If we pull them this way, it does not. So we want to be pulling our beads in this direction. So we are going to go into this outside bead of our outside color here. We don't want to go into the middle one. We want to go into this outside bead here. And we're going to come in this direction to kind of complete that circle. So in that direction here, we're going to pull this all the way through. And we have our first flower. And you can kind of tighten it. Sometimes it gets a little weird on the outsides. You can tighten it however you need to make it look like a flower. So there's our first one. Then to add those connecting pieces, sort of, we're going to take 3 of whatever color we're using for that. So I'll take 3 of my teal color here. And I'm gonna slide those all the way down. And then we'll just start this whole process over with the flower again. So we're gonna take 4 of this outside color. 4 of those. 1 of our inside color. And we're gonna slide that all the way down. And then we're gonna do the same thing where we're coming in from the front and going to the back of this very first bead of our outside color. So we're gonna ignore those 3 beads right there. We just want to go into this very first bead. So I'm gonna kind of pick it up just so I make sure that I only get in that bead, and we're gonna come from front to back, just like that. And then we're gonna pull it through there. And as we're tightening, like I said, it gets kind of stiff as we're doing this. So I like to kind of push it down with my hands, hold it there with my thumb as I pull the rest of this through so it doesn't end up in a weird place with elastic all the way through there. So there is our first half of that flower. So then we're just gonna grab 2 more of our outside color. And slide those all the way down. And like I said before, we just want to complete this circle here. So we're going to come into this first bead here on the opposite side of where we are right now. And we're going to go through there, pull our string all the way through. And again, kind of holding it down there with our thumb as we're pulling those beads tight. Give it an extra pull, and our second flower is done. And then you just keep doing that for the whole rest of the bracelet until it is the size that you need it to be. All right, so as we can see, we have a completed ring here, I guess. You can make a ring or a bracelet, whatever you're feeling, whatever length you want. So I like to end it on the opposite of whatever I started with. I feel it makes it blend just a little bit more so you can't really see that knot as much. And then what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna take this other end out from under the tape, and then I'm just simply going to tie a basic knot here. So I just cross these and then put the end through here, through that loop, pull it nice and tight. All right, so once we have that first knot in there, I like to kind of hold my work here with my thumb and my middle finger just to kind of hold that in place, and then pinch this other string here with my pointer finger and my thumb. And then we're gonna do this same thing here where we make that loop and then tie that through. You guys will have a longer end than me, so it'll make it a little easier. We're just gonna make that loop, tie it through, and then pull it tight while keeping it in that same spot. So you wanna try to not have those beads slide over as you're doing it, and just keep that knot directly on top of that other one. And then I like to do a third knot on there too, just to make sure it's nice and strong. This one will be a little easier because you don't really have to hold it in that spot. You can just do your little cross over and through, and then pull it tight, and it'll land right on top of your other knots there. And then once those are nice and tight, we can trim this end here on both sides, and you're done.